Today, the great sprint to find the prize position for the iconic Sydney Harbour fireworks.
Run for it.
Scores dead, Ukraine strikes back, launching an attack within Russia's borders. Holiday chaos, Eurostar travellers locked out of London after the tunnel is flooded.
Catch it, Fives!
Taken, big wicket, Australians have Jemima.
And Australia shows nerves of steel to clinch the ODI series against India. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Stephanie Borys. There's still 12 hours to go, but crowds are already massing along the harbour shoreline to secure the best spot for tonight's New Year's Eve fireworks in Sydney. Alison Zhao is at Mrs Macquarie's Point, soaking up the atmosphere. Alison, it's looking pretty packed behind you. What's it like there?
It is packed, Steph. The crowd is really starting to settle in here now at Mrs Macquarie's Point. They've been waiting for a long time, but as you can see, they've claimed their spot on the grass. They're getting ready for a long evening ahead. It's still a long way to go until midnight, but the mood is high, even though some people here have been waiting since the 29th of December. Other people have been waiting here overnight, having to contend with the rain, so there were some tents and tarps in the queue as well. But people are very excited to be here, to ring in the new year here at this premium vantage spot in Sydney, and people have come from all over the world. We were at the gates when they opened at 10 o'clock earlier, and people were sprinting to try to get their best spot on the grass. But unfortunately now the venue is at capacity. They have said that that the venue is now full, so people are still being let in if they were still in the queue, and it is still very busy up at the gates. But unfortunately, if you were planning to come down later this afternoon to Mrs Macquarie's Point, the venue is now at capacity. But this is a little bit of what some people had to say a little earlier.
I'm feeling so excited, I can't wait. It's like been on my bucket list for the last 10 years, so I'm really excited for the fireworks.
I've been waiting here since 7 a.m. and I think people are here since last night, and yesterday we came. So yeah.
I heard people queue up in the morning, and yeah, it's true, I watched it. We've been here from like 7 a.m, so yeah, but finally we are here, happy to be here.
I've been here since 6 a.m. Excited to see some fireworks. Hope I have a good spot. Foot's a bit sore, a bit injured, but run for it.
Looks like organised chaos there, Alison. What's the advice, though, from authorities more generally for people planning on attending tonight's celebrations?
Well, Steph, authorities are expecting more than 1 million people to be flocking to the harbour shoreline for this evening's fireworks, and they've advised people to get in early because this year there are less ticketed options available, and the ticketed options are already sold out. So like the people here who are very committed, people are being advised to get in early because it is a first come first served basis and there are capacity limits in place. Drivers in Sydney are also being advised not to venture out into the city tonight because there are a number of significant road closures in place. And as you might be able to see behind me, it is raining now, so people are getting their brollies out. But in terms of the public transport network as well, there are extra trains and buses running tonight as well, and 1,000 extra trains as well as 1,200 buses. So hopefully things will be running smoothly on the transport front. But we are also advised that today is going to be New South Wales Police's biggest operation of the year. So we heard earlier from Superintendent Anthony Bell, and this was his message.
Our message is simple. Police, security officers and rangers are everywhere. If your intention is to come in and play up, cause disruption to others, you will be removed from your area and you may be arrested. A successful night stems from everyone doing the right thing and enjoying the night, letting others enjoy the night, and having the patience to understand that there are big crowds, and with big crowds, it does slow things down.
Alison, there's still many more hours to go before the fireworks kick off, so how are people going to entertain themselves for quite a while to go still?
Well, there's a lot to do here. You can hang out with your friends, you can go visit the food trucks, which are going gangbusters, and people have started playing music on their speakers, and there's even been some impromptu dancing as well. So the mood is jubilant. People are very excited to be seeing the fireworks go off at midnight. It is a long wait to go, but they're prepared. They're mentally prepared. We all know what time midnight is. And as you can see over the bridge and the Opera House are a spectacular view, and so this viewpoint here at Mrs Macquarie's Point is really a premium vantage spot to be able to see the fireworks go off at midnight, and people have been coming from all over the world. We've spoken to tourists from Denmark, from the Netherlands, from Ireland and from China as well. So this is a bucket list item for many people, even though Sydney-siders can sometimes take it for granted, even because we see it every single year. But this is something that is a very special moment for a lot of people. People are very excited to be here in Sydney to send off 2023 and bring in the new year.
Well, it is a cracking spot there, and fingers crossed the rain holds off. Alison Zhao, thanks for your time. Investigations are continuing after a Victorian man had to be restrained on a Qantas flight from Bali this morning. Police met the plane when it landed at Melbourne Airport. Nicholas Hines has the details.
Officers from the Australian Federal Police met flight QF46 when it touched down here at Melbourne Airport shortly before 7 o'clock this morning after leaving Denpasar in Bali at about 10 o'clock last night local time. There's limited information as to what happened on the flight, but the AFP have told us that a 28-year-old man was allegedly held down and restrained by crew and fellow passengers on board following a disturbance. The officers here boarded the plane after it touched down and interviewed that man, and he's since been taken for a medical assessment. There's been no charges laid at this stage, but the AFP say they're continuing to investigate the incident.
Moscow claims Ukraine has carried out a series of airstrikes on Russian soil. The Kremlin says the assault was indiscriminate, declaring it would not go unpunished. Europe correspondent Isabella Higgins has more.
The city of Belgorod in southwest Russia is only about 40 kilometres from Ukraine's border, and it has been hit before during this ongoing conflict. But this one appears to be different. This could be the deadliest attack on Russian soil since this war broke out. The Kremlin says across Friday and Saturday that Ukraine fired a series of air attacks that hit Belgorod and also the areas around it, that many were killed and about 100 were injured. There's some dashcam footage of one of those strikes hitting a busy road in Belgorod on Saturday. Now, Ukraine often is quite coy about any attacks that happen beyond its borders. That's what we've seen here. No officials have come out and officially claimed this, but there are media reports citing Ukraine's intelligence services who have confirmed this, saying that they were trying to hit military targets in the area, and that this shows that Russia's air defence system is quite poor. Now, the Kremlin immediately came out and said that there would be retaliation against Ukraine, that this would not go unpunished. And almost hours after making that warning, a number of Ukrainian cities were then struck by missiles in Kharkiv in the northeast and in Kherson in the southeast. And all of this comes as Ukraine recovers from one of its deadliest days of this war. On Friday, there was a series of Russian strikes that hit across the country, and 39 people were reported to have been killed in that, one of the most major air attacks by Russia against Ukraine in this almost 2-year conflict, and it appears they won't be ending anytime soon.
The Australian government has condemned the Russian attacks on several Ukrainian cities. In a statement posted on social media, Acting Foreign Minister Mark Dreyfus said Australia unreservedly condemns Russia's aerial attacks against multiple cities in Ukraine. We stand with Ukraine and continue to call on Russia to end its illegal and immoral war. Israel's Prime Minister says his nation is fighting on all fronts, warning the conflict will last many months until victory is achieved. It comes as thousands of Israelis gathered in Tel Aviv to protest against the government's handling of the war. Demonstrators have called for fresh elections and demanded action to bring the rest of the hostages home.
It is true that the state of Israel has many enemies and threats, but unfortunately today, Prime Minister Netanyahu and his continued rule is the most significant existential threat to our country and our society.
There's been fierce tank fire and airstrikes in Khan Yunis, which Israel claims is a Hamas stronghold. Hamas health officials claim military strikes across the territory have killed 165 Palestinians in the past 24 hours. Benjamin Netanyahu has repeated that the war will continue, claiming Israel has eliminated over 8,000 terrorists.
The war is in full swing. We are fighting on all fronts. We have great successes, but we also have painful prices. Achieving victory requires more time. As the Chief of Staff said this week, the war will continue for many more months.
The United Nations says at least 100,000 Palestinians have fled to the southern Rafah border. The UN Relief Agency says 1.4 million people have sought refuge in their facilities and others are staying anywhere they can find. They've warned of the increased risk of diseases and attacks by Israeli forces.
It's not going to be a very big surprise if diseases are going to spread faster than they are right now. And we've already warned about the impact of the siege on the health of the population in Gaza. We have recorded 180 hits on our facilities. Some were directly hit. And as a result of those hits, at least 300 people who were sheltering in these facilities got killed and around 1,000 were injured.
Thousands of Eurostar passengers in the UK have been left stranded on one of the busiest travel days of the year. A flooded tunnel meant all services linking London with the European mainland were cancelled.
Crowded platforms, frustrated faces. Eurostar passengers hoping for a New Year's break or just trying to get home faced a day of disruption. All 41 services scheduled to run today between London St Pancras and Paris, Brussels and Amsterdam were cancelled, leaving thousands of people with their travel plans in tatters.
I am just devastated. I've just had a little cry. I just want to get home. It's New Year's Eve tomorrow.
It's because I'm desperate to be to Paris. I'm really, really desperate to be with my family.
We could have booked flights today and I wish we had. So yeah, I will question whether Eurostar's the best option.
A lot of people just sitting down and waiting. Seems like they're in for the long haul. We'll have to wait and see who goes and who doesn't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh look, there's an announcement now.
Fingers crossed.
This was the cause. A train track turned into a river. Water cascades into the Thames Tunnel near Ebbsfleet. Track operator HS1 described it as an unprecedented volume. Engineers with pumps and tankers worked through last night and all day today to bring the water levels down and try to get things moving.
This is not the first bout of major travel disruption over the festive period. A last-minute strike by French workers on Eurotunnel saw major problems in the days running up to Christmas Day for those trying to travel between Europe and London. And Storm Gerrit caused widespread havoc across the UK last week.
There has also been major disruption on Thameslink rail services today across London and the South East due to staff shortages. And tomorrow there will be no services on Northern Rail, also because of a lack of staff, and delays are expected on London North Western and Chiltern railways. Eurostar has apologised for the disruption and said customers with tickets could exchange them or apply for a refund. Some might be able to claim compensation. With the Met Office issuing yellow weather warnings tonight for wind, rain and snow for large parts of the UK, it is unlikely we've seen the end of the travel trouble.
For stroke victims, any delay in diagnosis or treatment can be life-threatening. In what doctors are calling a postcode lottery, rural patients often can't get the help they need within the golden hour, which is the first 60 minutes after the onset of a stroke. Now, Queensland researchers have developed a world-first mini portable brain scanner that can be used by paramedics at the scene, diagnosing patients within minutes.
Champion teenage runner Sean Lockhart had a stroke at 15, but because he lives in rural Queensland, he had just a 3% chance of getting treated within that golden hour.
Sean arrived at the hospital at 4 p.m. and the chopper arrived in Tara at 10 p.m.
A 6-hour delay. It was a very different story for 75-year-old Brisbane stroke patient Colin Knott, who was rushed to the PA stroke unit.
Within 30 minutes, I was up here in the hospital, which is extremely quick.
It's like a postcode lottery. And if you're in rural and remote Australia, particularly more remote parts, you virtually can't access acute stroke treatment.
But through research at the University of Queensland, the world's first brain scanner on wheels, and now a mini portable brain device are set to revolutionise stroke care. The ultra-lightweight helmet is designed for road and air ambulances.
The intention is paramedics can carry this device into the scene, run a scan and send those images via telestroke back to a specialist to guide urgent treatment and decision making.
It weighs under 10 kilos and has a ring of 28 antennas that send ultra-high frequency radio signals to detect if it's a clot or a bleed and to be treated accordingly.
It's very comfortable, it's non-invasive, and the whole process takes under 10 minutes.
The scanners are being trialled at major tertiary hospitals in Melbourne, Sydney and here in Brisbane. Then the mini brain scanner will be rolled out in ambulances around the country in a second trial mid next year.
We're reluctant to use words breakthroughs and game changers, but I think the concepts are right. And if these devices are clinically validated, I think the word game changer would not be an exaggeration.
Giving rural stroke victims like Sean,
I have no left side peripheral,
a better chance. Lexi Hamilton-Smith, ABC News.
Time now for sport with Daniel Garb.
Thank you. Australia's women's cricket team have pulled off a thrilling 3-run final over victory to seal a one-day international series win over India in India. Phoebe Litchfield took advantage of some mishaps in the Indian field to make 63 at the top of the order. As Australia batted first, Delise Perry continued her strong run of form as well to make it back-to-back 50s as Australia made 258. The home side were cruising in reply until Litchfield pulled off this stunning catch to dismiss Jemima Rodriguez for 44. Richa Gotch was closing in at a century, but when she went for 96, Australia had some hope. The DRS went against them on a couple of occasions, but they eventually composed themselves with Annabelle Sutherland and Ashley Gardner starring at the death to help Australia to a memorable series win. In the A-League, the Melbourne Victory started 2023 at rock bottom as a club. They'll finish it on top of the A-League men's ladder. That's after a 2-0 win last night over Adelaide United in the original rivalry of the A-League. Zinedine Machach put them ahead in the second half after some stunning work from Nishan Velupillay down the flank. And then a 13th goal of the season from Bruno Fornaroli sealed matters. He's off to the Asian Cup soon with the Socceroos, but he'll leave with his team flying. Manchester United's woes in the and something very, very special is unfolding in the darts world right now. 16-year-old Luke Littler has stormed into the quarterfinals of the Darts World Championships, defeating a legend of the sport in a stunning upset. The teenager demolished 5-time world champion Raymond van Barneveld 4-1. Littler already possesses an impressive beard despite his youth, and his fairy tale run has made him a cult hero in the UK. The result means Littler will also pocket $93,000 in prize money. He faces Brendan Nolan next.
Looking across the country, in Queensland, scattered showers and thunderstorms for much of the state, except the north, where heatwave conditions are expected. In New South Wales and the ACT, showers and thunderstorms across the north, dry and sunny in the east. Cool in the south of Victoria with a sunny afternoon ahead. In Tasmania, possible showers about the west and light winds. A dry and sunny day in South Australia with warmer inland temperatures. Over in Western Australia, showers and thunderstorms over the Kimberley with little or no rainfall over eastern regions. Mostly sunny in the Northern Territory, hotter temperatures over the interior and south. And now looking ahead to tomorrow's forecast for the capital cities, possible thunderstorm for Brisbane, showers easing in Sydney, mostly cloudy in Canberra, Melbourne, mostly sunny, mostly cloudy in Hobart and Adelaide, Darwin and Perth will be mostly sunny. From the war in Gaza to the Voice referendum and the Matildas World Cup campaign, 2023 has been a year of turmoil and triumph. We take a look back at the year in Australia and around the world. And a warning to our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers, this story contains the image of a person who has died.
A complex investigation is underway into the deadly helicopter collision on the Gold Coast, which left 4 people dead and another 9 injured.
Flying across what's become an inland sea.
In all my years here, I have never seen anything like this.
Derby and Fitzroy Crossing remain cut off.
Antakya has been ravaged by Mother Nature. The lives of the city's entire population shattered by 2 mega earthquakes.
12 months of death and destruction have left deep scars on this country, and as the conflict enters its 2nd year, there's no clear end in sight.
It was the news a family and a community had been dreading. The 95-year-old died a week after she was tasered by police at this Cooma aged care facility.
The terrifying moment, an inferno ripped a building to pieces. Commuters were stunned by the blaze, which raged next to Sydney's busiest transport hub.
We have a bus rollover, multiple patients.
10 wedding guests have been killed in a shocking bus crash in the Hunter Valley. 25 others were treated across 4 hospitals. Tonight, the bus driver was charged with causing 10 deaths by dangerous driving.
US authorities confirming the missing vessel had imploded, instantly killing everyone on board.
The loss of a tiny radioactive capsule that vanished in transit has been described as a bizarre, once-in-a-century event.
The US shot down what it says was a Chinese spy balloon. Whoa!
A federal court judge has found the war veteran Ben Robert Smith is a murderer and a bully. The Victoria Cross recipient has lost his defamation case.
Oh my gosh, look at the harbour.
An island paradise engulfed by flames.
Unbelievable. This looks like Baghdad or something.
Wildfires tearing through central and western Maui, forcing desperate locals into the Pacific Ocean.
More than 600 killed after an earthquake strikes Morocco. The death toll still on the rise.
War declared. Israel strikes back after deadly surprise weekend attacks by Palestinian militant group Hamas.
Jasper has arrived. Trees brought down, major roads, airports and businesses forced to close. The devastation hard to fathom just before Christmas.
A presidential mugshot for the history books. Donald Trump arrived in Atlanta to turn himself in after being indicted for a 4th time.
The world is mourning the queen of rock and soul, Tina Turner, one of the top recording artists of all time. Australia says a final farewell today to one of our greatest megastars, Barry Humphries.
So there it is. Anthony Green has called it at 7:24 p.m. The Indigenous Voice referendum has been defeated.
The ranks of Australia's pandemic leaders are thinning by the month.
I'll be resigning as Premier and member for Rockingham.
When it's time, it's time.
I have given everything, but now is the time for me to find out what else life has to offer.
So on Thursday, I will officially resign my commission as Chief Minister of the Northern Territory.
My friend, the Premier of New South Wales, Chris Menz.
It's 8 a.m. in London and we're about to witness an event that hasn't been seen for 70 years.
Are you ready for it?
It's the era Australian Swifties have been waiting for.
Around the country, fearless Swifties queued through the night for the chance to be at her Sydney and Melbourne concerts.
Cried for like 3 days straight after we didn't get them online.
Off the screens and onto the streets. Actors big and small joining writers on strike indefinitely, fighting for better pay and conditions as streaming services disrupt the industry.
Happy Pride!
Over the weekend, more than 50,000 people marched, or rather sashayed, their way across the Sydney Harbour Bridge to mark the end of the massive couple of weeks celebrating Sydney World Pride.
She sends Australia through!
They were the first Aussie team to make it through to the semi-finals of the World Cup tournament.
And that is the latest from ABC News. I'm Stephanie Borys. Stay with us for Y2K, the bug that didn't bite. Thank you for joining us.